We'll be faced with equally consequential decisions in the 21st century. Can a microscopic tag be implanted in a person's body to track his every movement? There's actual discussion about that. You will rule on that, mark my words, before your tenure is over. Can brain scans be used to determine whether a person is inclined toward criminality or violent behavior? You will rule on that.
Look, I joined the Scrappy Underdog team. I like that environment. And I'll tell you, we got to do a lot of epic shit when I was at DARPA. It was clear that I wanted to do more of that. And so I'll tell you a little story of my second interaction with Dennis. It went something like this. He said, he was very polite, and he said, we've decided to go with somebody from the mobile industry to lead our innovation efforts, somebody who's very experienced in the industry, and this is the basic strategy that we have planned. And I said, really? And he said, yeah, what do you think about that? And I said, I think that's a great strategy for not losing and a lousy strategy for winning. And a week later, I had a job. But let me tell you why. The reason is that what that conversation taught me, what it convinced me of, was that this company was serious about that activity, was serious about challenging the status quo and taking their underdog status and turning it into real innovation for the next generation. So I went. We challenge everything, not just about the projects we're doing, but how we're doing innovation. What I told Dennis that day was, look, the strategy that most companies employ for their breakthrough innovations is decades out of date, and it needs to be updated. It's a World War II linear strategy that goes from basic research to applied research to productization and commercialization, and we need to do it differently. We learned how to do it at DARPA. We're going to bring it to industry, and it's going to have implications for mobile, and it will have cascading implications for the country's competitiveness too. Let's do it.
And what is it? What is the process?
So what we do is we take very inspired, technically competent program leads, and we intersect big science with a driving application. That was the cauldron of activity that resulted in DARPA from Sputnik's early days. And we said, with that activity, a big science activity and a big driving application, well, you have a really bold initiatives, right? And it's counterintuitive to many people because they think with the increased risk that comes with that, you actually yield results less often. But that's not been my experience. In fact, when you take on a really bold vision like that, what happens is you yield results more often, right? If you want to ensure failure in your innovation, try and remove...
Dennis hired you wisely, by the way, to do. You brought a couple of things that you're working on. And can you talk about them? Can you show them? And talk
Sure. Well, lots of people talk about innovation in this space as if the big innovations have already happened. I think that's a lack of imagination, frankly. There are so many unsolved problems, and there are so many opportunities that can be realized by the advances in the tech here. So let's just take one really important problem, one driving application, in this case, authentication. Authentication is irritating. In fact, it's so irritating only about half the people do it, right? Despite the fact that there's a lot of information about you on your smartphone, which makes you far more prone to identity theft than if you didn't otherwise have it there, right?
So you're talking about passwords and pins and the drawing patterns and on
Well, sure. Look, after 40 years of advances in computation, we're still authenticating basically the same way we did years ago. In fact, it's gotten worse because now you don't do it once a day or twice a day. The average user does it 39 times a day, and it takes them 2.3 seconds every time they do it. Power users would do it up to 100 times a day. So what are we doing about that? Well, we're thinking of a whole variety of options for how you could do better at authentication. So you can start with nearer-term things like tokens or fobs that might have NFC or Bluetooth embedded in them, but you can also think about a means of authentication that you can simply wear on your skin every day. for a week at a time, say an electronic tattoo. Now, we're talking about wearables. Everybody's interested in I'm profoundly interested in wearables. And what I will tell you is that we've made a lot of advances in wearables, but there's still some fundamental problems that we haven't solved. Like one of them is the mechanical mismatch between humans and electronics, right? So electronics are boxy and rigid, humans are curvy and soft. That's a mechanical mismatch problem. Well, a researcher at the University of Illinois, his name is Dr. Rogers, what he discovered is that he could use standard CMOS techniques to make islands of high-performance silicon connected by accordion-like structures that would allow it to stretch up to 200% and still be performing. And what he did is he founded a company and they started making electronic tattoos. So I'm wearing one here on my arm.
Do we have a camera to get a...
This is a developmental system made by MC10, and it has an antenna and some sensors embedded in it. And what we plan to do is work with them to advance a tattoo that could be used for authentication. Now, it may be true that 10 to 20-year-olds don't want to wear a watch on their wrist, but you can be sure that they'll be far more interested in wearing an electronic tattoo, if only to piss off their parents. Right?
And that can have a design, right? Because
Sure.
they would certainly want some kind of cool design.
Options. And that's something that you wear, but you could also imagine including authentication in just your daily habits. So I take a vitamin every morning. What if I could take vitamin authentication?
What?
Vitamin authentication. Look, I have one right here. Well, here, I'll let you hold it. Would you like to hold it?
I'll hold it.
Okay. So
You guys see it?
this pill has a small chip inside of it with a switch. It also has what amounts to an inside-out potato battery. When you swallow it, the acids in your stomach serve as the electrolyte, and they power it up, and the switch goes on and off. And it creates an 18-bit ECG-like signal in your body, and essentially your entire body becomes your authentication token. Yes, this is true.
Okay, but...
Okay, so wait. So it's really true. So what this means is that becomes my first superpower. I really want this superpower. It means that my arms are like wires, my hands are like alligator clips. When I touch my phone, my computer, my door, my car, I'm authenticated in. First superpower. Like, I want that.
So we're not...
This is Proverbs 31 Life, and that is the first video that woke me up. And no one believed that this would happen, but it's happening. And let's take a look at Biden's bill. This is Lisa Haven's view on it.
Societal goals. The United States needs to invest in foundational scientific capabilities. We need to develop genetic engineering technologies and techniques to be able to write circuitry for cells and predictably program biology in the same way in which we write software and program computers. Unlock the power of biological data, including through computing tools and artificial intelligence. That's a massive statement right there. In other words, he wants to be able to program your biology, your cells, like a computer. Again, these are not my words. These are right in here in his executive order. Again, rewrite circuitry for cells, predictably program biology in the same way in which we write software and computer and program computers. This is to say this is serious is an understatement. Imagine the power to put some kind of thing in your body, if you will, that gets to decide and make decisions for you. That you can be programmed like some kind of robot. Sounds kind of Westworld-ish, right? If you guys never saw that the last season of Westworld, at least, in the last season, spoiler alert-ish, minor spoiler.
Yeah, I'm with Lisa on that. This is bad. It's like Revelations 13, verse 15. It's right out of the Bible. And not to mention that a rabbi from Israel is making some rather strong statements.
Reason number one. Okay, so we have Israeli rabbis saying they're already meeting with Messiah. Interesting, right? Okay, so in a recent interview, a prominent rabbi said that the Messiah is about to reveal himself. So a rabbi by the name of Yaakov Sitzholz stated that Rabbi Chaim Kavinsky said he was already in direct contact with Messiah, and since then, more rabbis have come out and confirmed this. Now, this Rabbi Kavinsky, he's like on the Billy Graham level in Israel. He recently passed, but the Jews are taking this serious because of who said this. And now we have like 2 or 3 rabbis who are saying they have met with Messiah. They are very prominent figures. So people in Israel are taking this very serious. So here we have prominent rabbis in Israel saying that they have already met and are currently meeting with Messiah, and that Messiah is about to reveal himself. And because of this, now we have people in Israel, the Jews in Israel and around the world, they are eagerly anticipating, thinking that their Messiah is finally about to reveal himself. I'm telling you, the world stage is being set for the arrival of this so-called Messiah. Okay, family, now let's look at reason number 2. Okay, guys, second reason. The Jews have a book called the Talmud. Now, you have 2 versions of the Talmud. They have what's called the Babylonian Talmud and then the Jerusalem Talmud. Now, I've read a lot of the Talmud, and I don't by any means take it as the word of the Most High God, even though it does have a lot of the Torah in it. The Talmudic writings deal a lot with religious law, Jewish theology, and ethics.
I'm not sure about this whole thing. I've got to do a lot more research before I can confirm that what they're saying is fact. But just something for you to think about. And I'll have a follow-up video saying whether I believe what this man says or not. But my break's over. Gotta go back to work. You all have a blessed, wonderful, beautiful day. And please like and subscribe.